Namaskar and put up the. Today, the Wednesday evening, and we'll be discussing the Panchama Veda, the Gospel of Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna. So let us begin with that stotra. Tabo kathamritam tapta jivanam kobibhirilitam kalmashapaham sravanamangalam srimadatatam bhubi grinanti e bhurida janaha. This the Gospel, we know that Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna, he has been shifted from Dakshineshwar to Calcutta, and he is now in the, let's call North Calcutta, Shampukur. In the Shampukur locality, still that house is there now. It is a center of the Ramakrishna mission, Ramakrishna Mott, and the room where he used to stay, that has become a shrine. So everything, that history is there. Now the beautiful discussion, the philosophy that came out of that. So we will be discussing that. Last Wednesday, Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna taught us that divine incarnations are necessary. Necessary for whom? For the human being. Who are those human beings? It's called mumukshu. Those who got that the doubt, why this life? Only for some food, some to survive and to die, that much? So obviously, so that is the doubt comes in the minds of the people. Then they like to go beyond the circle of birth and death. Because they understand, they realize that this is so difficult, unnecessary. That is called mumukshu, mukti ichuka. Those who want to go beyond the suffering of birth and death. Every time we take birth and to fulfill some of our desires, and after that, for that we have to suffer, and then ultimately we die with some other desires again to take new birth. So we'll have to go beyond this circle. How? And the incarnation, the God himself, he incarnate, he comes down in the form of human being. He lives with us and teaches how we should develop our spiritual life. So that is the incarnation. Last week we have discussed the dharma sthapanarthaya, for the righteousness, to establish the righteousness, to guide the people on the path of righteousness. Those who are happy with this type of life, almost like the animal life, you can say, the animals, they eat and they always try to see that they are safe, and then one day they die. Ahar nidra bhai maithunancha samannametat pashubhi narana. One of the slokas in Sanskrit, it says that the food, ahara, nidra, the sleep, bhai, the fear of death, and the desire for the progeny, this is all present in human and animals. Dharmena hina pashubhi samana. It is the dharma, it is the righteousness, it is the clear idea that I am not this what I am thinking I am. I am something different. And from here, religion begins. And Swami Vivekananda said, religion is realization. It begins. And then it ends and becomes truly a religion when we realize the truth. Incarnation, they come and they live that particular way so that we can follow them. So that is the reason incarnations are necessary. Then Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna, the latest incarnation of God, he solved another riddle. What is that? God has become all that you see. That which is the absolute has also its relative aspect. Paramarthika, Vyavaharika. So accept both Nitya and Leela, absolute and relative. Friends, we are reading from the English Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, page 851. And if you are following the Bengali Kathamrita, it is 919. Akhand, that Bengali Kathamrita, that is the whole book in whole Gospel in one book, the page number 919. So this is another point. Now the God means all purity, all knowing, all powerful, all pervading, and it is huge, you cannot imagine. And if that is so, and what is this world that we are experiencing every day, every moment? What is this world? That is also, we have to think of what this world then. Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna said, most of the people, they try to think this world sometimes, particularly among the Hinduism, in Hinduism, there are different groups, and there is a extreme Vedantin. They say this world is not there. You are imagining only as you imagine in the dream. This world is not there. Of course it is, but for them who has realized it. Now I try to explain it in this way and try to understand also in this way. Suppose the children, when they are playing with their dolls, that doll, that world is so real to them. They can hear that the doll is talking, and the doll is saying that it is hungry, and doll is crying that it likes to go to bed. Those children, they have that. We the grown-ups, for us it is a fun, and we say, this is all, everything is nonsense, nothing is there. Oh, this is your imagination. Will the children will accept that? No, because they are in that condition. So those who says that this world is not there at all, the Shankaracharyas, the Adi Shankaracharya, he is Guru's Guru, Gaudapada, Govindapada, that is the Guru of Shankaracharya, and he is Guru, Gaudapada, the great teacher. He says this world is not at all there. And sometimes in Hindi, if you go to the Himalaya, some of the monks, they will say, Jagat tin kal mein hai hi nahi. And the tin kal means Jagrat, Sapna, Susupti. And nowhere it is there. In the waking state, in the dream state, in the dreamless sleep state, nowhere this Jagat, this manifestation is there. Of course it is. It's true. But for a very handful of people. But for us, the ordinary people, we feel hungry, we feel sleepy, we feel angry. Sometimes we are attached to something. It is happening in our life, day-to-day life. And how can we simply say this world is not there at all? So Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna says, be careful. That is of course true. That is of course that philosophy, that understanding, that realization is true. But for him who has understood it, realized it. But if you are having me and mine, that conception, if you are having all of these desires, the anger, the attachment, the aversion, and at the same time you are saying that this world is not there, it is illusory, you are a hypocrite. You are not telling the truth. So one should not be hypocrite. Then what? Then Sri Ramakrishna, he says, this world is also the same God. Why not? In the Veda, when we chant Purna Mada, Purna Idam, Purnat Purna Mudachyate, here it is Purna, that is Brahman, the consciousness. There it is also the same, but everywhere the same consciousness. Out of that consciousness, this has taken out, but it remains the same. That means from the consciousness, this world has come, but even then the consciousness is as it was. Nothing has changed at all. We have to understand this particular point, and then we will understand Hinduism in reality. The Hinduism is this. That is also true, this is also true. But if you are accepting is it an absolute truth, then it is a mistake. So, Sri Ramakrishna said, it is Nitya and Leela. Nitya means absolute, unchanged, unperturbed, eternal, all-pervading, only one, and no conception of two. That is Nitya, absolute. And the Leela, the same Nitya is reflecting in many varied forms, in different forms, different names, different times, different situations. This is unique. As because we cannot think of anything except the one and absolute consciousness, which is all-pervading. That is called absolute. That is Nitya. And that is only Paramarthika. But from that, as a reflection it came, and it is also having almost the same way, same thing. But it is Leela. Because it is Leela, a term that has been used, it is the relative. So it is changing. And it is Vyavaharika. Regularly we are experiencing that. Though it is changing, but it is changing apparently. Now, back calculation. When we are realizing the change, understanding the change, and when we can observe the changes, that means there is something which is static, which is there all the time. Otherwise, how can we understand the change? That proves the reality. So, Nitya, the absolute, the unchanging, comparing with that, we see the changes. But where from the changes came? From that only. How it is? They say reflection. It is your imagination. And slowly we will, as we grow in spirituality, we understand that. But it is so difficult to understand, so the God Himself comes, the Creator Himself comes in our human form. Of course, the Hindus, they accept, as in the last Wednesday we were reading, Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna said, the divine incarnation, 12 divine, some people they say 12, some say 24, some say, oh, it is, there is no number. All the time there may be the incarnations. It is God's wills. But when we say the God's incarnation, they are coming and transforming everything before our eyes so that we can believe it. The Supreme Being, the pure consciousness, is the absolute, eternal, unchanging, one without two. Ekam eva advitiyam. They always say in Sanskrit, Ekam eva. It is only one. Advitya, no two. Ekam eva advitya. Then, what is this word? Then this is, they say, this is very interesting point of philosophy. Nitya, or the absolute, appears. Leela, or the relative world. Now, friends, before we entered into this, because this is the subject, Just another point I like to discuss here, that is Shankaracharya. Shankaracharya, he has composed one wonderful book that is called, this is Upadesha Sahasri. Sahasra means 1,000, Upadesha means advices. This book now we are studying in the Hindu temple of Lemont every month, the first Saturday. We have started studying that. Here, the book is in two different the sections. One is in the prose, another poetry. The first poetry, in the poetry section, the first sloka that the Shankara mentioned, he says, Chaitanyam sarvagam sarvam sarva bhuta guhashayam. Chaitanya means consciousness. It is sarvagam. Sarvagam means all pervading. And when they say all pervading, means really, really everything. And there is not a single space, even the speck of a needle, and that is also there, also consciousness is there. Without consciousness, nothing can be there. So sarvagam, and then sarvam. I will request you to listen to this point, because we are discussing Nitya and Leela, as Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna mentioned. Adi Shankaracharya of 800 years, century, 8th century, it says in this way, Chaitanyam sarvagam sarvam sarva bhuta guhashayam. Where the consciousness, how do you know the consciousness is there? In every being that consciousness is there, whom we call life. We are living because consciousness is present within us. When that consciousness will not be there, we are dead. So the body and consciousness, and sometimes we think that consciousness as mind. The consciousness as a mind. But in the Hinduism again, they will analyze the mind. The mind, there are four different the group they make. The mana, buddhi, chitta, ahamkara. Mana means sankalpo, vikalpo, atmika. Those who follow the Vedantic discussions, you all know that. When we are thinking, oh, shall I do it or shall I not? That part of the mind is called mana. And buddhi is a decisive faculty. It's a, I am going to do it. That is called buddhi. So mana, buddhi, chitta is a repository. It is a storehouse of all the impressions. And ahamkara is the powerhouse that makes us move, act. I. So these four is total called mana, mind. Now this particular, the part of our being is not that gross, it is subtle. So the mind is subtle, and inside the mind another portion is there which is taking the decision, is very clear, we can say. On that the consciousness is reflecting. So what is Jivatma? The consciousness residing inside an individual being. It is the buddhi, it is the intellect on which the consciousness is reflecting. It is not actual, it is not original. But the reflection is so good, so realistic. We think that is that. So when we say I, we actually mean that. But that is not I. There's sometimes in the poetry also they say, the moon thinks that it is giving the light. The moon has no light. It is the sunlight reflecting on moon that we see sitting over here. And those who are in the moon, they see this earth is reflecting the light of the sun. So reflecting only. But even then the reflection is so real. We see the whole world with the light of the moon. reflected light of sun. And we can give the example of the mirror. When the sunlight is on the mirror, it is so powerful. But the same sunlight when it is on the wall, no, it is not. So sun is coming, the consciousness is coming and reflecting on the body, but it is not, we don't understand. But when it is reflecting on the conscious mind, the buddhi, same consciousness, it gives us a feeling that it is I. What is Jivatma? What is this I? What is this ego? It is this. So Shankaracharya is mentioning, it is in everybody's heart. Chaitanyam sarvagam sarvam. Sarvagam, all pervading, and it is all. How? Sarvabhuta guhashayam. And in the heart of every being it is present. Yat sarva bishaya atitam. Again, immediately it is reminding sarva bishaya atita. Bishaya means an object. And what is the object? Anything that we can describe, anything that we can see with our eyes, we can touch with our hand, we can smell, and we can hear. This is all bishaya, an object. But this consciousness is beyond all object. It is not an object, it is subject. Because of that consciousness, we can hear, we can talk, we can move, we can taste, we can see, we do everything because of that consciousness. And when that consciousness goes away, we burn this body or we bury this body. So this, he says, yat sarva bishaya atitam, is beyond. Tashmai, he now says, tashmai, that sarva bide. If someone has realized this particular truth, namaha, I bow down to that supreme truth, which is the consciousness, which is all-pervading, again, which is present in every being as consciousness, reflecting on their intellect. Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna says, that is also the same. So that which is the Nitya, which is the permanent, which is the absolute, which is the Paramarthika, the same also is Leela. So why don't you accept that first? Because it is so close to you. And then go one after another, slowly, slowly, and then you reach over there. So absolute and the relative, Nitya and Leela. This is, now let us read from Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna's book, The Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. Sri Ramakrishna at Shampukur. And he says in this way, so long as I consciousness exists, a man cannot go beyond the relative. He is very practical type. Sometimes some people in the name of religion, they become very impractical. And they think that we will come, we will close our eyes, we will sit erect for 1 hour, and we reveal the God and we become all powerful and we can fly, we can walk on the water. They think in all this way. And when it is not there after 2 years, 3 years, they become frustrated, go back to their old life. It is nothing like that. Sometimes some people, they come and contact us, they like to know about the spiritual life. If you are listening, you must know it. There is a total commitment. The spiritual life means a total commitment. The commitment for what? To know the truth. And what is the truth? That I am conscious and everything around me, nothing but consciousness. And what you should do? You have to follow the instructions by which others have already realized this truth. They are our teachers. And the top man, top teacher, the first teacher is an avatara. And in the present day, in the very recent incarnation of God is Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna. How we say this? Just because we are the followers of the Ramakrishna? No. All those good qualities that an avatar should have, that we find in our scriptures, it is present in the life of Sri Ramakrishna. Those who have read the biography, they know it. Those who have not, please go through the biography of Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna. Then you will find all those qualities are present in a humble looking person and so-called illiterate, so-called. He was very intelligent and he was full of wisdom. But he never got any certificate from any school, any college or university. So people, they say that he is illiterate, but he is not. So that person, he says that so long as I consciousness exists, when I is there, thou is there, you is there, they is there, it is separate. Through meditation, he can negate the phenomena following the process of neti neti. Through meditation, we go on negating, not this, not this, not this, and slowly, slowly we reach to that place where we find that I am the absolute. Through negation. But the moment neti neti and reach the absolute, but nothing can really be denied, as in the instance of the bale fruit. He gave the example of the bale fruit. So we have already read it. Doctor, quite true. The Sri Ramakrishna. Kancha had been immersed in Nirvikalpa Samadhi. When his mind was coming down to the relative plane, someone asked him, "What do you see now?" The Kancha replied, "I see that the universe is soaked, as it were, in God. Everything is full with God. It is God alone who has become all that I see. I do not know what to accept and what to reject." Now, what to accept and what to reject? When I am meditating, and if I can go into that real meditation, I see nothing but the consciousness all everywhere. Now, again, because the I is returning within me, as long as the I is there, you cannot really meditate. Absolute meditation means the samadhi, it is impossible. When that you achieve, then what happens? When you are coming back to yourself, first I will come. I was meditating, and this is my body. So I am returning to my body. And that is the experience he is explaining. At that time I saw everything is that consciousness. It is all saturated with. I could not differentiate that this is this and this is that. Everything same. Those who go to that height, they are truly religious. That's why Swami Vivekananda said, religion is realization. Unless and until you are in that oneness with God, you are a student. You are a mumukshu. You are just trying to reach to. And we have no right to claim that I am a religious man. I am a religious student. I am trying to realize that. And when you truly realize that, as they call it, graduation into that knowledge, what happens? He is transformed into the love and unselfishness. A true religious person is nothing but love and unselfishness. When a person wearing the religious garb and speaking religion and says that hate those person, deny those people, don't be with them, follow me, know it for sure. He is a leader, of course, maybe social leader, political leader, whatever leader. But he knows he is not a religious teacher. He cannot be. This is the yardstick of religion. Religion must be the pure love and unselfishness. So this is what he says over here. And in my opinion, one should realize both. Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna, now the incarnation of God in the modern age, he is telling, in my opinion. Why? Because in the modern age, we are so much related with this world. We cannot simply deny it. It is impossible. When they say, Jagat Dukkhamaya, the Lord Buddha said, the Jagat Dukkhamaya, it is 100% truth. No doubt about it. But to whom? Those who have realized that dukkha, but it is not for all. It is not for all. Ahimsa parama dharma, absolute truth. Ahimsa is the ultimate of religion. Why? Because you see everything as yourself, as the same consciousness. So naturally, you have to understand it is nothing but love. How can you hate? So that is called ahimsa. Parama dharma is a supreme religion. In the Mahabharata also it says, ahimsa parama dharma. Bhagavan Buddha also said, ahimsa parama dharma. But when we follow that ahimsa parama dharma only in vegetarian food and hating others, criticizing others, fighting with others, this is a mockery, absolute mockery. That is not true. You have not understood that the purport. Ahimsa parama dharma only for those who have realized God. And the moment they transform into that divinity, they see no difference between these and that. Everything is the same. As Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna says, that in my opinion, one should realize both Nitya and Leela. Then what will happen? Nitya, the absolute, it is there. And except that absolute, nothing is there. So that absolute is reflecting. And the reflection is so real to me at this moment. This Jagat, this universe, this name and form. So I have to accept that as God. Now, let me begin with that. When a little boy or a girl going to preschool, I visited preschool in the San Antonio. The children are so happy. The moment they came, they were supposed to listen to me, to meet me. The teachers, they brought them, the guardians, they brought them. But they never paid any heed to my presence. They all ran to the place where they were kept, the dolls and other things. They all went over there and they took the dolls and they started playing over there. For them, that is the world. So obviously, if you tell them, hey, no, don't touch that, don't look at that, that is absolutely nothing, listen to the wisdom of Swamiji, that will be a torture for them. It is nothing but torture. Similarly, if you ask a person who has not realized anything, hey, practice ahimsa, he will say, okay, sir. Then what he will do? Secretly, he will go on doing these and that. You are forcing him to become a hypocrite. Why? Let him come up in his own way. That's why Hinduism allowed all these. If you like to eat meat, fish, you are allowed. Offer it to God and then eat it. And slowly you will feel, oh, no, everything is the same. So let me take that much food which is necessary to maintain my body, as long as I like to meditate, as long as I like to pray, and then only I will change. So growth is the holistic growth, slowly, 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 and that is true religion. Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna said, in my opinion, one should realize both Nitya and Leela. And on the basis of this, his great disciple Swami Vivekananda, he introduced Karma Yoga among the sannyasins, among the nuns, sannyasinis. Go and serve them. You need not to bother about your meditation. Only think, constantly think that you are serving the living gods and goddesses. You serve food to the picture of God or the image of God. If the food is not well cooked, that image is not going to tell you anything. So day after day you are offering food and you are giving those food which you like, so that you know afterwards it will come back to me. And not only that, people are there, they will be counting the members of their family, and that they will offer, so that they can get it back. If they were knowing that God is truly eating, how many of us will it offer regularly? No. Is it not a sort of hypocrisy? To some extent, but slowly, slowly the love generates. That's why the Hindus allowed them. You don't like to eat any non-veg food? Very good. Go, no problem. You like to meditate? No problem. You like to work for others? Come on, no problem. So that way, the four paths, four different attitudes of human mind, properly utilized. Those who are meditative, go for meditation, yoga. Those who are emotional, they like to love, bhakti yoga. Those who are very active, like to serve others, karma yoga. And those who like to know the truth, analytical mind, jnana yoga. So different, so it is embracing all inclusive. This is the beauty, all inclusive. You have to understand, you cannot get only one type of person. There will be varieties of people. But you have to take them, and this is the uniqueness of the present avatar incarnation, Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna. And he says Nitya and Leela. And then live in the world as a servant of God. Hanuman saw both the personal God and the formless reality. He then lived as a devotee of God as his servant. He gives the example of Hanumanji. The servant means, sometimes we feel, oh, why should I servant? No, we are free. Well, I can become the friend of God. To some extent, well, I can be the son of God or the father or mother of God. But servant, no. But servant means, you have to give up your all ego. I am a part and parcel of God, but I am all the time waiting for God's command. And constantly you are aware that I am no one. God is everything. If the God is not there, then I cannot do anything. I cannot move anything. So that is the way, if we realize, then only we realize that Hanumanji is our ideal. It is not the monkey that we think. That is a completely wrong thing. It is a great personality, it's a great yogi who could control his mind and control all the 5 organs. And then it goes to that reality where he sees nothing but the consciousness, and that consciousness, only for the reality's sake, he accepted in the form of Sri Ramachandra. Parabrahma Parashakti Jagad-Rupa Ramakrishna. About Ramakrishna they say. And same the Sri Ramachandra, same the Sri Krishna. They're in the human form, but if you are accepting him as a human form, what it becomes? You also become like that, because it becomes easy. Now a debate is breaking up and he says, "Im, the Master Mahashay, to himself," he is soliloquizing, "so we must accept both, absolute and relative. Since the introduction of the Vedanta philosophy in Germany, some of the European philosophers too have been thinking along that line." Master Mahashay, that you all know now, he was a very highly educated person. He read different philosophies, particularly in those days that was the British, they were ruling India. So the European philosophy that were highlighted, and many educated people, they used to study the European philosophy along with 6 systems of Indian philosophy. So he said in this way in the Germany. But the master says that one cannot realize both Nitya and Leela without complete renunciation. That is to say, without totally giving up lust and gold. Such a person must be a true renouncer. He must be totally detached from the world. Here lies the real difference between him and such European philosophers as Hegel, the great philosopher. Master Mahashay, he understood it. Now, philosophy is one thing, understanding is one thing, but realizing is completely different thing. In the words of Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna, understanding is called jnana, but realizing that thing is called big jnana. He termed it in this way, jnana and big jnana. We all know about the milk. What are the things are there in the milk? All we know. We have seen milk, but I have not drunk milk. I have not got the benefit of drinking milk. So I remain as a jnani. But one who has drunk that and got the strength, he is a big jnani. That is also the example of Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna. The same way we know about God. Oh, He is absolute, He is everywhere, He is all kindness, He is all love. And then afterwards, I don't realize that. If I had realized that my life will change, attitude will change, behavior will change. But that is not there. I don't accept criticism. I can't accept somebody else that people are following him and I feel jealous. People appreciating somebody else, I cannot accept that. And at the same time I say God is love. No, that won't do. So one is only mere knowledge, bookish knowledge. That's a philosopher. But realized is completely different. So these two are complete. Majority of the people that talk about religion, they are jnani. They have understood it intellectually. But they have not converted, could not convert themselves into that understanding. So they are not a realized soul and they are not still a religious personality. So Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna said like that. In Dr. Sharars' opinion, God created men and ordered that every soul should make infinite progress. Dr. Sharkar, he was the personal doctor of Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna, and he was a scientist and researchers in those days. I'm talking about, say, 1860, 70, like that. So he was a great personality in that India and particularly in Bengal, the then capital of the British India. So people that knew him, he was a great orator also. And he used to come and he used to listen to the advices of Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna, but he used to argue a lot because he has his own opinion. And he used to say, no. You cannot say that God has come and taken a human form and behaving like a human, and he is eating, he is sleeping, he is crying, he is suffering. No, it cannot be. That is Dr. Sharkar's opinion. And he used to say, yeah, that soul is there and it has given us the infinite progress. By the term using infinite progress means you can go up to God. Actually, in those days there were many different type of opinions. Philosophy, it was there. In that particular moment in Indian society, you are free to discuss anything about the culture, about the poetry, about the religion, all those. You can practice anything you like. The Britishers gave that freedom to Indians, but no political freedom. Now what people will do? They were educated, they were cultured, they had their own opinions, but they cannot run the society in their own way. So obviously most of them, the educated people, their focus was on the spirituality, religion, etc. But at the same time, majority of them, they were bound by the wealth and prosperity, and for that you have to have a very good relation with your rulers, the Britishers. So in that confused state, that they were not making any progress, but different type of opinions developed different philosophy at that time. And that was the situation, thoroughly confused situation. Shall we follow the traditional Hinduism? And in the name of the traditional Hinduism, some people, they were telling that the girls should be married when they are very young, so that they can go and adopt the in-laws' house, all the situation, because they have to live their life over there. So that was their opinion. Suppose husband dies, and what will happen? So another group came forward, remarriage of the widows. That was a great movement in those days. Some people, they said, give them education. Now, how much education? And all this confusion was there. And in the meantime, about the religion also, this is the time when Avatara came. And he channelized the all energy in one way. What is that? Serve the humanity. Those you are avoiding, you are turning your face, seeing that the poor people, illiterate people, they are your living gods. The Sri Ramakrishna's biography, again friends, I will ask you to read, then you will find the places he is going which was taboo for a religious person. No, you should not go over there, all bad people. He used to go, he used to mix with them, he used to bless them, he used to encourage them. It is not the occupation that you are having. It is your mind. Where is your mind? Where is your thought? Constant transformation of that. The avatars, they come to destroy the wicked and to protect the good people. He did that. But this time, not by slaying or punishing physically, but by transforming the mental mind and the mental wavelengths. The Sri Ramakrishna, the doctor, is telling, I believe in infinite progress. If that is not so, then what is the use of leading a mere 5 or 6 years existence in this world? The doctor, and the Bengali is a little bit emotional. So, and the doctor said, and I would rather hang myself with a rope round my neck. If I am not progressing, and he said absolute progress, and if it is not infinite progress, what is that infinite progress? Maybe he himself was not very much clear, but he wanted to say that all the limitations should break and I myself will become Avatara or God. Why should I have to worship an avatar, a human form, God in human form. He was not accepting that. He said, rather I should try, otherwise what is the use of living 4-5 years extra? I will kill myself. That is the emotional statement he made. And incarnation, what is that? He was mentioning in this way. Now Girish Ghosh came. You all know Girish, smiling, but you have not seen God's light. Girish, again, he was a great devotee, and he said God's light. Dr. Sharars were hesitating before giving a reply. A friend who sat near him whispered something into his ear. Now, the Master Moshe observed that and immediately recorded everything. Now, if we read it, somebody is reading, and you are closing your eyes and just meditating on those words, you can see what is happening. In the room where Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna, he perhaps is half lying and half sitting, and people, because he was not well, so doctor has come to check him, and with the doctor another assistant came, Girish Ghosh came, Master Moshe came, all are there sitting, and the discussion is going on not about the disease or medicine but the philosophy. And in that philosophy, a very high philosophy, shall I become God, or I have to accept a human as the incarnation of God. So doctor, he said, no, I would rather become God. Why should I have to accept another person as God? So I don't believe the God in human form. Girish Ghosh then came in and said, have you seen the light of God? And the Dr. Sharkar was hesitating, his friend said something, and the doctor mentioned another thing. And a doctor said, you too have not seen anything but a reflection. Now, a debate is breaking. Sri Ramakrishna intervened. Girish said, you too have not seen. And Girish said, I see it. I see the light. I shall prove that Sri Krishna is an incarnation of God, or I shall cut my tongue. Look at it. Someone told, doctor told, I am ready to hang myself. And he said, I like to cut my tongue. But none of them realized anything. And they were only debating. But that is the nature of the Bengalis. They are very, very emotional. And they always say like this type of word. And take it to the extreme point. Now Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna intervened and he said, all this is useless talk. It is like the raving of delirious patient. A delirious patient says, I shall drink a whole tank of water. I shall eat a whole pot of rice. So by that way, a person, he is not well, he is a sick person. So he says like that. That is not true. Doctor was telling, I myself is going to become God myself. But Master Mahasaya, the Mahendranath Gupta, he pointed out, he was soliloquizing. He said, this is possible only for a true renouncer. What is true renouncer? Who has given up the whole world. No desire in his mind. And when we find no desire in mind, what remains in the mind? That reflection of God. The mind becomes tranquil, minds become pure. And when the mind becomes pure, we can see the reflection of the consciousness. And if we like to see that consciousness in the form of Sri Krishna, Sri Ramachandra, or any form or formless, it is possible. But our only and only thing through which we can realize this is mind. And this mind is polluted. There's so many varieties of things that we are thinking constantly. And it is the waves after waves, constantly the mind is turbulent and disturbed. And now we think, oh, I am going to be God. Suddenly, then he said, I see the light. Then Sri Ramakrishna said, you're just talking like a person who is under the influence of the medicine or because he is mentally sick. He says like this. Friends, I was thinking to read from the Bhagavat Gita. I will read these two and then maybe we will explain in our next class. Bhagavat Gita, 9th chapter, 10th mantra, it says, Maya addakshena prakriti suyate sacharacharam hetu nanena kaunteya jagat bi parivartate. In my power, in my presence, Maya Adyaksha. Adyaksha means is the president of that. In my presence, Prakriti, my power, and Vedantin say Maya, Suyate, produces. What produces? Chara achara. Chara means moving, achara is not moving, unmoving. So, and then he says, Hetu na anena kaunteya. Kaunteya means Arjuna. Because of these, Jagat moves on and on. Jagat bi parivartate. So what is this Jagat? I have created. How I have created? Through my power I have created. And what is that power? That is either, you can say Prakriti or Maya. The Vedantin, they call it Maya. And the other philosophers, they call it Prakriti. And this is the power of God. Now the next, but we will discuss afterwards, maybe in our next class. And then it says, Abhujananti ma mudha manushim tanumasritam. Abhujananti, disregard, mam, me, mudha, the fools, human, manushim, human, Tanu masritam, having the human body, the people, they disregard me, they don't understand me. Param bhavam ajananta. Param bhava means higher, bhava state, ajananta, unaware. Mama bhuta mahesharam. I am the supreme Lord of all beings. Mama bhuta mahesharam. I am the Lord of the Supreme Being, all being. And I have taken the human form, and they don't understand me. So there are stories, sometimes the kings, they used to dress themselves as ordinary people, and they will go inside the market to understand what people are discussing about him, how people are living. Are they happy? Or they have something. Because before king they cannot express. So in disguise, king in disguise, similarly God in disguise. We will discuss about it in our next class again. So thank you very much. Any question is there?
Yes. SM is asking, ultimately, if everything is pure consciousness, then how did Totapuri ji fall into Maya when trying to give up his body? Next part, Maya did not allow it. How to explain this when he knew consciousness ultimate?
This is exactly what we will discuss in our next class because I couldn't get time. So this is the power of God, and that power, it is actually covering the actual real thing and superimposing something else. That is the power of God. So obviously, even the personality like Totapuri ji, he went down into the Ganges, and that was that time 100 years to 200 years before, the Ganges full of water. But lo, it was knee deep. He couldn't get a place where he can kill himself by drowning. So obviously that was the Maya. So God power can do anything and everything. So Totapuri understood and he said, Kya Daivi Maya? Oh, look at it. So he was not accepting the power of God. So Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna, the incarnation of God, who accepted his discipleship, actually rectified and make his own guru perfect. So we will discuss about that maybe next time. Thank you. Achha. So what is the second part?
Second part is Maya did not allow it. How to explain this when he knew consciousness ultimate?
And that is why he went, that the sadhus, after the realization of the God, when they understand this body has become very old and the body has no use for this world and the world is not actually real, this is absolutely nothing but imagination. When they realize that, so they throw their body and they don't care about the body. There was a place, I don't know whether even today it is there or not, as a modern time the country won't allow people to kill himself just as his will. No, it is not allowed there. So previously it used to call Nildhara. So the monks used to go and sit under the water, keeping a huge stone on his lap and waiting for the death. So that is called Nildhara. What I am going to do with this body? So that was completely different. It was not committing suicide. It is not to give the trouble to others just for this old body. That was a sacrifice. So unless and until I realize the truth, I cannot do that. So anyway, maybe in the next time we will discuss. So let us chant this mantra and complete. Niranjanam nityam anantarupam bhaktanukampa dhrita vigraham vai Ishavataram parameshamidhyam tam Ramakrishnam shirasa namamaha. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.